I'm in charge of IT now. I better be able to.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, wow, all right.
Paso Latido.
Brad, thanks for fixing that. That was awesome. Yeah. Hey. All right, so do we need 10 seconds, Ron? Are we on? Okay, we're on. So we are back. Do we need to take roll? I think we need to take roll. Can we please take roll?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Spiker.
Present.
Commissioner Martin.
Present.
Commissioner Suman.
Present.
Commissioner Riley.
Present.
Commissioner Perez.
Present.
Vice Chair Jones.
Present.
Chair Weber.
Present.
Councilmember Freitas.
Present.
Councilmember Torres Walker.
Present.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rocha.
Here.
Mayor Burnell.
Oh, sorry. Jumped in early. All right.
Thank you. We have a quorum of the council and the planning commission at 8:36 p.m.
All right, so we have finished up with 2 of the questions. We will continue on with question number 3.
Excellent. And this one may overlap a little with the last 2, but beyond fulfilling state requirements, what key achievement or outcome will define this general plan update as a success for the city of Antioch? So there was some discussion of benchmarks and ways to kind of evaluate the general plan on a quarterly basis or on a regular basis to make sure it's being implemented. But what are some measures of that success? Obviously, you're not going to evaluate every single policy in action every 90 days, or your staff would be doing nothing but updating their evaluation of the general plan. So what are some ideas you have for what would really qualify this general plan as a success?
Yes, Commissioner Riley, would you like to start?
On the topic of finding third places and making sure that we have localized jobs to match our workforce, I think one metric for success is to see if we can change our whatever metric it may be for people who are leaving the city to go to work, and then if we can make it so less people are leaving the city to go to work, and then more people are finding jobs within the city. I will extend that to my weekend as well. Let's make sure that another metric is if people are going out to go to restaurants, dates, bars, Ben and Jerry's, Dave and Buster's, whatever the new thing is, going out and making sure are people staying in Antioch when they're going out for that recreation and entertainment, or are they leaving our city, going elsewhere to the better cities? I think that's like a metric. It's if you're leaving our city to go to the karaoke bar in Walnut Creek because you don't want to stay in Antioch, well, it's because Walnut Creek is a better city than Antioch. That's why people are going out. So I think this whole general plan is to make our city better. Better is so subjective as a word, but I think like by taking that attendance of like who's getting jobs outside the city and who's going to go entertain and recreate outside the city is just another way we can see making sure that our city is the best as it could possibly be.
All right, thank you.
I wanted to add on
Yes.
Commissioner Riley. As we've seen, some of our sister cities have outgrown us in the past few years, and I hope that with this plan, we are able to see Antioch actually grow more as well. Like Commissioner Riley said, we actually have more entertainment here in Antioch, more jobs as well. We've mentioned more affordable housing. We've mentioned a lot of great things today, but not just that. I hope our downtown is able to be more like Martinez area. I hope to be able to see more small businesses grow more. I hope shopping centers are not closed down anymore. I hope that all these shopping centers that are closed that are now opened and more established. And yeah, I hope to see that change, then not just, this time that we're investing in this plan, that it actually kicks and runs.
Right, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Jones.
What I would like to see is quantifiable metrics. And what I mean by that is what worked, we are asking what worked, what didn't work in the existing plan. And so we're also looking at doing it on a quarterly basis. But what are we asking of ourselves? Does work, doesn't work? What does that look like specifically? And so KPIs, quantifiable metrics, I like numbers, I'm a data's girl, so I like to see so we know the benchmarks and where we're at, where we need to be, because it's better is subjective. And so understanding those numbers, I think, would help. In addition to that, I think we should be looking at aligning our goals with how it's going to be funded. I think that's an important part of it, because we can have all of these lofty goals, but at the end of the day, if we don't have a penny to pay for it, it's not going to happen. And so I think those two things are very important. And then looking at, does it better the community? And so focusing on that, like I said, I'll repeat it to the skies forever. I think event or experience-based businesses is where the economic development is going to happen in the city.
Right, yes, Commissioner Suman.
I think it's nice to see more businesses, restaurants, employers coming to Antioch, and the closed-up businesses reopening. That will show a sign of progress. If we add a few more places where people can go after work to eat, drink, play, spend some time with friends, so you have a sense of community, I think that will show improvement in the metrics. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, Councilmember Freitas.
I want to go back to a comment that Commissioner Weber brought up, and with regards to metrics, generational, metrics I think are very important, because I have my toe on the road of technology, but today kids, I asked my son, okay, to fix my problem. I said, don't tell me how to fix it, just fix it. That's all I care about. And so, generations are different, and I think her point is very, very valid. So the question is, how do we do that? The other thing is, I don't want a general plan that we have boxes that we check off. For me, the question really will be new thinking. Like I talked about, the mixed commercial. It's not new, but it would be revolutionary to have that happen in the city of Antioch. I mean, we have to we can't just simply say, okay, here's this plot of land, it's housing. Here's a plot of land, it's retail. Most people don't even use retail stores anymore. They order everything. They order their food. They order, doctors come to their house. Somebody comes to clean and wash their pet. I mean, you could literally be born in your house and never leave it and live for 90 years of age. I mean, it's the point I'm trying to make is, we are radically, radically different. The question I have for all of us is, how are we going to measure that success? I'm not sure what that metric really is. It may be very different from me, versus somebody else. And I think that as we begin this process, that's the question. What is success? How do you measure it? And then we have to hold ourselves accountable, just not this planning commission and this city council, but for the next 20 years, changes are going to be here. And it should not be difficult for new planning commissioners or city council members or mayors to, quote unquote, figure it out. It should be very understandable how we define success. And that will change with time as well.
Right, thank you. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Rocha.
Just, again, learning about this, how policies are created and looking at the partnership with the Planning Commission and City Council. One of the comments that was shared with me, and I'll bring it up, is as policymakers, looking at ways that we can create policies to encourage reuse or repurpose of existing underused properties that exist in Antioch. We've talked about that earlier. Maybe we can incentivize or expedite the process with a permit process, or maybe fees, or whatever we can do to try to encourage new activity in terms of taking some of our spaces that are underutilized and maybe can repurpose them to do something that benefits our community. So, I'm thinking like in terms of, we've talked about youth athletics. I heard Kevin bring that up, or youth activities. We have the Babe Ruth fields over on the corner of 10th and Summersville that were knocked down, and that is a void for our youth. We, growing up in Antioch, youth sports was a big item that most young people that I grew up with participated in. Today, there's no Little League, there's no baseball at all for young people. And so when I look at the Little League fields at the fairgrounds, if you've ever seen the Little League fields out there by the fairgrounds, the fences are up, the scoreboards are there, but it's just boarded up and unused. So there are spaces that are open that maybe new business could come to, or maybe services could be provided for our community. So new to the city council, learning how policies can be developed, maybe one way that we can evaluate our success is looking at what policies did we create as a body that would result in new development or redevelopment, if you will, for spaces that are underutilized that maybe we can repurpose and benefit our community as a whole.
All right, thank you. Yes, Councilmember Torres Walker.
He's looking around. I thought it was going down the line again. Good.
Bouncing around.
Messed us up, 20 minutes to closing. I guess for clarification, do you mean present or past tense? Because I'm thinking, do you mean what will make the process a success? Or do you mean what will make the general plan a success over time?
What will make the general plan a success over time? So what would you get out of your general plan that would make you feel like that general plan had been successful in addressing the issues you've identified and improving the quality of life in the city?
Yeah, so I think, we are creating this general plan at a challenging time in American history, right? The only thing we have before us is local control. It's gonna take more than 2 decades to address the challenges that our communities are gonna be facing. Not just in the next 3 years, but it's gonna take a while. And so I think the only way to really measure true success, and I think we could say an increase in revenues over time, or like, if significant infrastructure improvements actually take place. I think it's really to do what Councilmember Freitas said and really establish a clear process of review. Whether that is a quarterly process, I don't know if the body to be able to measure the success of the general plan over time would be the Planning Commission, or a combination of the Planning Commission and the City Council coming together, or a combination of Community Commission and City Council. I think the only way to know if, not just if our intentions that was set forth in a general plan are reaching a level of success, but if the community feels it, right? Because most often what I experience as a policymaker in this space, but also a policymaker for the last 16 years in community spaces, is that we pass policies and then we put out mandates, and then the community doesn't feel any of it. And so I think the way I would know it's a success if people, everyday people actually feel it. So like and I don't know how we would, like how you quantify that, but it's like, do people feel safe? Do people feel invested in? Do people feel more proud? And not just the people who families been here 160 years, right? Like families who just got here yesterday, do they feel a sense of pride? Are we addressing issues around diversity, equity, and inclusion? Do we have cultural diversity that people are experiencing? Is there a sense of belonging? So things that we don't necessarily believe we can measure. And like, So I guess I'm just, and like quality public services, it's like, what is the quality of public services can do that for folks? So that's just some of what I was thinking around what would make it a success. For me, as somebody who spent a lot of time in community, is like, what is the community saying? And maybe that is in that review process that Councilmember Freitas mentioned. I'd rather not create the wheel or recreate a wheel. I think it was a great idea.
Yes. Commissioner
I
Jones?
just wanted to add one thing. When I mentioned what worked, what didn't work, I think a starting point would be looking at the general plan amendments that we're approving, the conditional use permits that we're approving, and the rezoning requests and things like that. Because if we're constantly making these approvals for these conditional use approvals, then obviously something in the general plan isn't working. And so if we can eliminate those constraints, and if it's a consistent problem across the board, then maybe addressing those can kind of better the systematic processes that happen going forward. So all of the contingency plans that are requested of us and that we sit here and we have to approve or deny, I think starting there, if we're constantly having to do it for the same thing, then obviously that didn't work and that doesn't work.
Yes, Chair Weber.
Just real quickly, I think a good way to see success in this new general plan would be to see people coming to do business here without us having to waive fees and offer all kinds of incentives to come here. Seeing businesses come on their own accord, seeing that we have a vibrant and robust economy that they want to be a part of because there's a movement happening. I think that would be a very good way to see that we're doing something right.
All right, it's good. Yes, Commissioner Spiker.
So I think we need to recognize that this is a very difficult process. I mean, we're trying to envision not only our current needs for the city, but also what the future needs of our citizens will be, what they'd like to do and experience here in the city of Antioch. Other cities, Concord, for example, has this naval weapons station property that they're still, after years and years and years, trying to figure out what is the best use of that land. We have similar, not as big, obviously, but we have some big open spaces. Some of it has been mentioned already that we'd like to come up with, I think, a good vision for how that space is best utilized. Not only for the support of our city and our citizens, but also just bring economic benefit to the city and joy for our residents, potentially, depending on the type of use we decide on. As a planning commissioner, I'd like to make sure that the general plan gives a nice, solid guide for how property should be used. So if a project is proposed and comes to the planning department, then they know how to react to this. Is it in conformity with our general plan or not? Is it in conformity with what our vision for the city is or not? That's would be beneficial, I'm sure, for the city staff and also for the Planning Commission to know that, that is clear guidance that's being given to anyone who wants to come into the city and construct something that, here, or maybe there's a range of possible, amenities could be brought in on that piece of property. How we zone each parcel will be important in that area. I'd like it to clearly define exactly what our vision for the future is, and that it be cohesive. We understand exactly how it's all going to fit together with our existing, residential neighborhoods and commercial districts. And finally, I'd like to make sure that there's some sort of priority list that's established here, because as been mentioned, we don't have unlimited resources to implement, our dream list. So, coming up with a priority of where do we really want to spend the money? Where's the biggest bang for the buck for the city of Antioch? I think is going to be important for us to figure out. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I think that's the implementation plan, correct?
That is, and it prioritizes each of the actions.
Right, so that'll be a really important part of the process. Yes, Commissioner Martin.
Okay.
we've come up with a lot of good ideas. And most of them deal with jobs. But one of the things I'm going to start with is I really want to make sure that the plan that is created is realistic. We may have all of these grand ideas, but they may never go anywhere. I've been on this, working with the city too many years to know that how many different plans have been built and put on the shelf or put into storage, and nothing has been done. So that's my major idea. Let's make it realistic. And one thing you didn't mention, and we've had the problem before, and that is updating the zoning map to match the general plan. We've had too many places where the general plan says this, the zoning map says this, and we have to make the decision. So I would like to add that as a task to make it. Thank you.
All right. Yes, Councilmember Wilson. Is that-
Thank you
are we-
for looking out for me. Yeah, this one I struggled with, and Tamisha's question kind of made me realize why I was struggling, because for me to understand the outcomes, there's information that I need. Like we talked earlier about the conditions report, or knowing the strengths of our population. What does our populations do? I need to know what the community is thinking, because I can sit up here and give a ton of ideas and then get home and get 10 emails saying, I don't want any of that. What are you talking about? Really figuring out what is missing in the region and how do our strengths fit into it. And something else I want to say, because I've heard it a couple of times, I keep hearing we should be like fill in the blank city. We need to stop chasing other cities' dreams, because that's what they want us to do, and that's how we end up kind of pushing our community to, oh, can't we be like Brentwood? And if we have that mindset, it's going to push our community to go shop in Brentwood, or go to the restaurants in Brentwood, or go someplace else. We really need to think about what's the dream that Antioch wants. I get reality, we do need to be realistic, but it's okay to be, what's the word I'm looking for? To dream a little, to get ahead, to get to where we want to be. But for me to really understand these achievements, I really also need to hear from the public, because I know I'm going to get, when I get home, there's going to be a bunch of emails. I wasn't thinking that. Well, why did you say that? I really need to hear from the community, and I need to know what our strengths are, what worked in the past, what didn't work. There's just a lot missing for me to give the outcome that I would like to see. But I know one outcome I don't want to see is us chasing another city's dream.
That's good. So I'll just close it down. I think Commissioner Martin, with it being realistic, is a really good point. It needs to be achievable. It needs to have attainable short-term actions to it, so that it's not so theoretical. It's what happens way down the road. I think to the extent that we refer to it in our daily discussions, it's not just this thing that pops up every time there's a general plan amendment we hear about or something. And it's something that is easy and simple enough to understand, so that it's not just the planning director or whoever that understands how this works, but the community can have an understanding of how this works. So I think it should have not just an executive summary, but maybe a version of it that's simpler for folks to understand, maybe in a cartoon fashion or something, so I can understand it. And then I think it's really important. Success is that it's still relevant as everything's changing. AI is changing, the state legislature is changing rules every week. So to me, it has to be a living document that, even apart from updating it on a regular basis and taking a look at it, that it can stand the test of time. And and then Councilmember Wilson mentioned the 8 to 80, where it covers the whole community, right? From the little ones to the older folks and everybody in between. And so it just needs to be a holistic plan that everybody can receive the benefit from.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Listening to some of the dialogue, I wrote down, we talked about being financial and generational and things of that sort. I think what would be exciting to have in a general plan is to develop doable opportunities to succeed. Instead of just, being a litany of here are some things and here's the zoning, here's this and that. But it's a document that when somebody reads it, I could do that. That makes sense. That's creative. That's the community needs that. And so and I use the word doable, but it has a lot of meaning, financially, legally, and so on and so forth. But it's really developing those opportunities to be successful.
Beth, one more thing, I saw you smiling as you've been kind of taking notes. Having done in your company so many of these general plans, I'd love for you at the end of this thing to say, you know what, Antioch really did a really cool plan. It's different, it's unique, it's fresh. I think from somebody like yourself and your team, if you, at the end of this whole process, if you could say, this was really a great process, it was very community engaged, it was different, it was maybe a standard for the future going forward, I think that to me would be success as well.
Mayor, would you like a vote to extend this meeting? Like us to take a vote to extend this meeting?
Are you being funny or serious?
No, I'm serious.
Is it going till 9
It's
o'clock?
supposed to be over at 9.
Oh, it is? Yeah, maybe extend it like 10 minutes? Could I get a motion
I
to
think it's
extend it?
one more.
Wait, there's one more.
Yeah, it's one more. That's why we need a vote to extend
Oh,
the
City
meeting.
Council and Planning Commission input. Oh, there's one more, okay. So can we extend it till 9:15, please? Motion?
So moved.
All right, motion,
Second.
second. I guess you have to take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Spiker,
Aye.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
Commissioner Suman,
Aye.
Commissioner Riley,
Aye.
Commissioner Perez,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jones,
Aye.
Chair Weber,
Aye.
Councilmember Freitas,
Aye.
Councilmember Torres Walker,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rocha,
Yes.
Mayor Bernal.
Yes,
Thank you. Motion passes 12-0.
all right, perfect. Back to you, Beth.
All right, well, our last question is in regard to how to structure the General Plan Advisory Committee. So there are a lot of different ways that a General Plan Advisory Committee can weigh in on and guide a general plan update. And this can vary from having an appointed General Plan Advisory Committee where the council reviews applications and you appoint a formal committee and they serve as a sounding board for the development of the general plan. This can help represent various portions of the community. It can help represent property owners, the Chamber of Commerce, business, but it can also serve to amplify voices of the individuals sitting on that committee, and it provides an opportunity for public input, but it doesn't always provide a full opportunity for complete public input and doesn't always provide the same level of input that a visioning workshop provides, where people can interact, they write on maps, they get their ideas, and they all have kind of an equal seat at the table. So there's that opportunity. There's also like a technical advisory committee where staff reviews the materials, and then we invite different agencies to come and they'll sit with staff and give us feedback, and that's less of a formal process, but where it's more of the consultant and staff level. And then there's a hybrid model where we could do the internal staff committee where we work with agencies to get their input, and then we could use the Planning Commission as an advisory board. We can go to them and the public can participate like they do with typical Planning Commission meetings. And this has the benefit of having a body that understands the city's current general plan, your land use requirements, your zoning requirements, and really doesn't have to be brought up to speed. When you have a GPAC, it can add a lot of time to the process, and it's a lot of, it requires a lot from staff resources when it's a formal body that's an additional committee that's appointed. So anyhow, those are the options. I'd be happy to talk about any of those in greater detail if you'd like, but we just wanted to get feedback on how you would like us to get that input. Oh, and I'd also just like to say, when we're doing the visioning workshops, there was some comments regarding how people will interact. It won't be a general plan lecture. These will be where we sit around at tables, we have people writing down ideas, they'll be marking up maps, it'll be interactive. It won't be just telling them about their general plan, giving them 5 minutes to comment, and then they go home. They'll have a brief overview, and then most of that, each workshop will be very interactive. So I just want to make sure that it's understood that we expect to get public input and active engagement.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just try to move the dialogue. I guess I would recommend a hybrid to the commission, to the council. I think either the whole council or at least 2 members of the council be included in option A, and then we figure out how many people that you would want on the whole committee. But I do think the council, either collectively as a whole or at least 2 members, need to be a part of this process as it moves forward. I personally would recommend the whole council, but I know that that puts a burden on people with regards to time. My hybrid is actually, I think the TAC committee should be created, and that, you know, on an occasional basis, the TAC committee and the community-based committee join together, have discussions. You know, they don't have to be together because the subject matter is very different, you know. But I would suggest hybrid of option A and B.
All right. So,
I wouldn't choose options.
no, he's saying combining option A and B together.
I'm suggesting A and B, and the only thing with A is that there needs to be either the council as a whole or at least 2 members, and then that 9 to 15 people be selected. When the urban limit line was done by Contra Costa County and all the cities, the committee was well over 100. I think it was like 140 people. That was ungodly. And it went on forever and ever and ever. But I think with some members of council and advisory, I think it works. As a matter of fact, you could put, you know, 2 members of council, 2 members of the planning commission, and I don't know, 6 or 8, whatever the right number is for the community people.
Any other questions or comments or ideas? Yes, Commissioner Martin.
I kind of agree with A, but I said A and B, and mainly B, so that we can get the technical experts into the group, because I don't know everything about what's going on with the water company, with the transportation, with the retail. So I would agree with A, being a couple of council members, a couple of planning commissioners, but also make sure that we get some of the expertise on that committee of 9 to 15.
Yeah, that's what I think Councilmember Freitas recommended, is A and B combination. Okay.
Would still include some community members in the A
Yes.
and B combo.
Yeah, it would be community members with council members on that, and then also the technical advisory committee or, as well. So it'd be both together. Is that a motion? I have a quick question, generally speaking. So does this additional working group fit within the 2-year time frame?
That's a great question. We plan for it to fit within the 2-year time frame. Sometimes working groups can try to take a life of their own, and they can add a lot of time to the process, particularly if they want to dig in deep on specific issues. What we typically do is we use a general plan advisory group as an advisory body, so they don't have to come to consensus on individual items. And when we hit a point where there's a disagreement among the group and one group wants to go down one path, then the remainder of the group wants to go down the other, then we come to council and we say, okay, you know, we've got consensus on all of these issues, we've developed, you know, the plan to here, and then we've come to this issue, and we've got a few different ideas about how we could go about addressing this. And so what's the guidance from the council on how you want us to proceed? So we typically do that because that keeps the advisory body from stalling and just kind of spiraling out of control and going down a path that's just runs the general plan sideways. So we typically try to keep it on track because we want to finish this within the 2-year time period. And by reminding the GPAC of that time frame and making sure they're aware that they have a time frame, and we've budgeted for a limited number of meetings. And so as consultants, we're always happy to come to extra meetings, but we can also let the GPAC know that we do have a limited number of meetings, and that as we add meetings, that of course will change the city's budget and affects your bottom line. So we have a few tools we can use to encourage the GPAC to be efficient and streamlined with its input and decision-making.
Mr. Mayor, going back to Commissioner Martin, and that's really my suggestion. I mean, part of it, if you have a committee that has no planning commissioner and no city council members, we all have knowledge, and planning commission has, heck, they are making more policy decisions than the council when it comes to development. So their expertise and knowledge, even up to this point, I think is important. So if you have 2 members of council, 2 members of the planning commission, 7 members of the general public, that's an 11-member committee. And I agree with you. If it breaks down, there's 2 or 3, opinions, you simply write those 3 opinions down and send it to the commission, the council for input and decision. I agree with that. The TAC committee needs to meet anyway. I mean, they're going to have, there are going to be lots of issues that go between road construction, water, sewer, infrastructure, and things of that sort. And it can be way over a layperson's knowledge and experience. So, and there will be times that the advisory committee can simply ask the TAC committee, we have this issue, please study it and come back with a recommendation.
Absolutely, and we can structure it that way to split the meetings up between the formal general plan advisory committee and then to have some meetings that are the separate TAC where the whole general plan advisory committee doesn't have to sit through those detailed and technical discussions. So we can definitely divvy up the meetings.
And then one more question. So you mentioned that it involves staff time, which I know our staff time is limited, and overtime and all of that. So what's the staff involvement, would you say?
So typically in developing a GPAC, the staff's going to be involved in taking in, we'll be developing a whole GPAC application process, and so staff will bring that to the council. They'll probably review and review and summarize the applications, and then of course, they'll likely attend the GPAC meetings. So when it's a TAC, it's typically during staff hours. When it's staff level, it's typically during typical working hours. And then when it's more of a GPAC, it's usually in the evenings and outside of their normal working time. So those are the main things, is the meetings and then preparation for the meetings. De Novo Planning Group will prepare the staff reports for the GPAC meetings, and we'll prepare the materials, but staff, of course, will be reviewing those. And so when we have more formal meetings, there's just more to review and more to assist with prior to each meeting.
Will there be an agenda and minutes to these meetings?
Typically, we don't prepare formal minutes, but there will be an agenda and materials for each one. And just a quick synopsis, we don't typically do member by member, but just the overall direction that came out of the group.
Okay, perfect. So do we have any more discussion on this before we address the motion, I would call it?
I'm in favor of Councilmember Freitas's decision of having a few members from each body and then majority of it community-based committee.
I don't think so, because we already took public comment earlier.
If the question was, are we taking public comment? If we do want to take public comment, we need a vote to extend the meeting.
I'm not sure. We already took public comment at the beginning. This is just another one of the questions, so I would say no public comment on this. We don't have a city attorney.
Mr. Mayor, I will move that we create a GPAC, which is the General Plan Advisory Committee, and that the mayor appoints 2 members from City Council, the Planning Committee, Planning Commission chooses 2 members, and that we have 7 members of the general public.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, will you please take the roll, take a vote?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Spiker.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner Suman.
Aye.
Commissioner Riley.
Aye.
Commissioner Perez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Jones.
Aye.
Chair Weber.
Aye.
Councilmember Freitas.
Excuse me.
Councilmember Torres Walker.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rocha.
Yes.
Mayor Bernal.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 12-0.
All right, Beth, did you need anything else from us tonight?
That was it. Thank you for your time and thank you for all of your input and your enthusiasm. It's really a pleasure.
All right, thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to say, I have enjoyed this partnership, between the Planning Commission and the City Council. I mean, I really have enjoyed tonight, and I enjoyed the dialogue. And, Commissioner Martin, you were there in 1998, so was I. And so, thank you for all your years of service. It really has been very appreciated.
Thank you.
Would you like to say anything, Mr. Martin?
Yeah. Move we adjourn?
Oh, yeah. All right.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion passes
Abstain.
12-0. Meeting
right.
is adjourned at 9:16 p.m.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.